Right now, in your pocket, there's a tiny machine that knows the ridges of your skin better than you do. It doesn't take a picture or look at anything. It fires an electrical signal through your finger 500 times a second. If the pattern doesn't match, it locks you out in under a fifth of a second. That's faster than you can blink or even notice it happened. Today, we're looking at the history of the sensor that decided you are you, a story involving Victorian police, digital hackers, and constitutional law. Welcome back to The Subject, History, the channel where everyday objects turn out to have hidden pasts. If you're new here, hit subscribe and join us for a closer look at the tech in your pocket. That sensor is the result of a development process that spans 140 years, beginning not in a laboratory, but at a crime scene. Biometric identity started with forensic investigation. In the 1880s, a Scottish doctor named Henry Faulds noticed that fingerprints left in ancient Japanese pottery were unique enough to identify individual potters centuries later. Faulds wrote to Charles Darwin about his discovery, seeking to validate the idea that these patterns were permanent and unique. A few years later, scientist Francis Galton cataloged thousands of prints and proved mathematically that no two people, not even identical twins, share the exact same pattern. By the year 1897, police in Calcutta, India, under Edward Henry, built the first practical fingerprint classification system for law enforcement. Scotland Yard adopted the same system in 1901, making fingerprints the global standard for criminal identification. Silicon Valley engineers shrunk this century-old police tool from an ink pad and a magnifying glass down to a chip the size of a grain of rice. In 2013, Apple introduced Touch ID on the iPhone 5S, presenting the miniaturized sensor as a secure, convenient way to lock a device. This capacitive sensor reads the electrical map of your fingerprint ridges. It looks for the specific depth and shape of your skin to grant access. At launch, the technology was marketed as an uncrackable security feature. It took researchers less than 48 hours to bypass it. A German hacking collective called the Chaos Computer Club demonstrated the vulnerability almost immediately. They used a photograph of a print from a glass surface to create a mold using wood glue and pink latex milk. That DIY finger successfully unlocked the phone. The breach proved that digital security could still be defeated by analog materials, turning a multi-million-dollar sensor into a liability. This shift to biometrics created a legal problem that designers hadn't fully anticipated regarding the Constitution. In the US, a passcode is treated as testimony, information in your mind that the Fifth Amendment protects you from disclosing. Courts classified fingerprints differently, viewing them as physical evidence, like a key or DNA, which doesn't receive the same constitutional protection. Starting in 2014, police began using this distinction to compel suspects to press their thumbs to their phones, bypassing the need for a warrant that a passcode would require. Using your body as a password made the device more convenient, but it also reduced the legal privacy protections surrounding your data. Engineers responded to these security and legal vulnerabilities by developing more complex biometric mapping systems. In 2017, Apple introduced Face ID. A dot projector fires 30,000 invisible infrared points at your face, creating a three-dimensional depth map. This data is processed by a neural engine chip that tracks changes in your appearance over time, such as aging or different hairstyles. Even with this increased complexity, security researchers attempted to find a workaround as soon as the technology hit the market. A Vietnamese firm claimed they fooled the system using a composite mask made of 3D printed plastic, makeup, and paper cutouts for eyes. This cycle defines modern security. It is a constant back and forth where engineers build a more sophisticated wall and researchers look for the next crack. Current sensors now use multiple layers of defense. They combine 3D mapping with liveness detection and machine learning to ensure the input is a living person, not a mold or a photo. Because of these layers, simple physical spoofs are no longer enough to bypass the system. Your phone's security is the result of Victorian police files being refined by hacker groups and reevaluated by modern courtrooms. What everyday object should we look into next? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to hit the bell so you catch our next investigation. Every time you look at your phone and it opens, you use a system built on over a century of forensic evolution and legal debate.